and centuries-old communities, sending residents and tourists running for their lives.
I know for a fact people didn't get out.
Devastating to Rachel. A look back at the storm that left significant damage across Iowa.
Wind pulled off the roof, and then it also busted the sprinkler system.
Beach bacteria. Why the weather is forcing many New England beaches to close.
It's really precipitation that is the #1 driver of closure days.
The Texas drought increases the risk of toppling trees.
You need to make sure all of the roots are getting watered.
And what you need to know to witness this weekend's meteor show.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. At least 36 people are dead in the wildfires that tore across the Hawaiian Islands, making it one of the deadliest wildfires in recent memory. The fires spread quickly as strong winds from nearby Hurricane Dora whipped up those flames. Some people survived by running into the ocean and then were rescued by the Coast Guard. The fires burned through much of the town of Lahaina. It was once Hawaii's royal capital, is now popular with tourists. These before and after shots right here show you the devastation the fire left behind. Buildings that date back to the 1700s, now gone. One resident says they had no preparation, no warning. Tourists are now asked to stay away. On Wednesday, about 1,100 were flown out of Maui, but it wasn't easy for everyone.
So it was somewhat challenging. I mean, where we were at, first of all, we got separated from our kids the day before because they were on the other side of the island. So they ended up sleeping in their car the night. They couldn't find a place because everything was super booked.
More evacuations are expected today. Right now, the cause of the initial fire is not known. For more on the situation happening right now, here's reporter Stephanie Lesios.
With those high winds, it raged down into Lahaina and has basically burned it into the ground.
Power lines have been burnt, leaving residents without power or service to call 911.
I've seen footage of people driving through the flash point of a fire where everything is burning. They opened the door to help a woman who was dead on the ground. They would have been asphyxiated immediately. It's a disaster. Children getting separated from their family, and complete families that are unaccounted for, and people are fearing the worst. I've had friends jump on mopeds in the middle of the night to get out there to search for their family, and I haven't heard from any of them.
Winds from Hurricane Dora, hundreds of miles away, are helping to fuel the flames, according to the National Weather Service.
These winds, when they pick up like this, it's a recipe for disaster with these non-native grasses that we have all around. Now we're dealing with hundreds, if not thousands of homes that are gone. So I'm fearful for our future. There's going to be a lot of families that are going to have to leave the island because there's not a lot of other options out there.
The fires were fueled in part by winds from Hurricane Dora. Meteorologist Dave Selesky from our station K2 in Portland, Oregon explains what happened.
So here we have Hurricane Dora. These are the Hawaiian Islands out here. Dora is moving off towards the northwest. But again, as the system moved on by the Hawaiian Islands, we saw very strong offshore winds developing yesterday and into this morning. And that offshore flow pattern came down the mountains. Whatever caused that fire, we don't know the exact cause as yet, but explosively developed that fire, pushed it all the way through Lahaina and out towards the Pacific Ocean, and that's where the fire basically stopped on the ocean, with very few, if any, fire blocks in that area. So hence the widespread damage we're seeing now on the island of Maui.
And later today, NOAA will issue its update for the 2023 hurricane season. Back in May, NOAA was forecasting a near normal Atlantic hurricane season. The initial forecast from meteorologists at Colorado State University was for a slightly below average season due to El Nino. They are now forecasting a slightly above average season due to high temperatures in the Atlantic. Now, we'll let you know tomorrow when NOAA is forecasting. That will come to you in the morning. Let's move now to Central Illinois, where heavy rain is causing a flooding mess. Really, roads you can see here were temporarily closed on Wednesday. Some people tried to drive through the water and got stranded. Several garages in Springfield also flooded. Remember, as little as 6 inches of water can reach the bottom of most cars. You could lose control and maybe even stall in those cases. And pay attention to this right here. The areas with the greatest risk of severe weather today are the Carolinas as well as the northern plains. Nearly 14 million people live in those yellow zones. Strong to severe thunderstorms are the most likely threat, with a very slight risk of tornadoes along the North Carolina coast. After a tornado tore through a Massachusetts town Tuesday morning, residents of a hard-hit neighborhood finally got a peek at just how much damage the storm actually left behind. Everyone living there is safe, but the greenery didn't fare so well. The National Weather Service said wind speeds got up to 95 miles per hour, knocking down power lines and also uprooting trees.
Well, it was very windy. There was a lot of rain. We had the shed tipped over. It was tipped on its back, so the door is now looking up at the sky. We had a huge pine tree that was ripped up out of the ground.
It'll take a while to get everything cleaned up. As for the road closures, it could take by the end of the week before all those roads get reopened. 3 years ago, today, a series of thunderstorms swept across Iowa. The storms were classified as a derecho, a long-lived storm that produced wind gusts up to 140 miles per hour with more than $11 billion in damages. It goes down as the costliest thunderstorm disaster in U.S. history. Nada Shaham has a look back at this historic storm.
We stood at the window and looked out and saw it coming, got underneath the counter that was behind us, and 2 minutes later it tipped over and we laid there for 45 minutes.
45 minutes unable to move from fear, not knowing the extent of the damage, not knowing where her son was.
So many things go through your mind. It's like, I want to see my kids again. I've got so much to live for.
And that feeling is shared among many. Mary Friday was home in her third-floor apartment with neighbors near when the weather radio went off.
We were watching, the windows and saw a tree fall on the house across the street.
When she finally went back to her apartment, there was water damage throughout, clothes, the bed, ruined. But she hadn't seen where it was coming from.
Wind pulled off the roof, and then it also busted the sprinkler system. And so because we were right under that part, and so everything was ruined.
And throughout it all, first responders were behind the recovery. North Liberty Fire Chief Brian Platts was called to respond to a flipped semi with the driver stuck inside. Then came one after another.
After the extrication, there was so much leaves and debris on the inside of the rescue truck because those doors were open.
And the aftermath was just as rough.
In the 24 hours following the derecho, we ran 31 calls, which is a pretty significant day for a department like ours.
Fire alarms, power lines down, 2 buildings on fire because of candles being used. But Chief Platt says that training is done to handle the worst situations. August 2020 was no exception.
Everybody rallied, they took care of the problem, got us back to normal. It took us a couple days.
It definitely warms my heart to have that connection and that shared experience with other people.
Keep plugging away and run to the basement if there's another bad storm.
And if you want to learn more about what a derecho is and how they actually form, head over to our YouTube channel where we have a video that breaks it all down for you. Just search the National Weather Desk. This Saturday is the height of the Perseids meteor shower. It's your best chance to get a glimpse of this cosmic event. Meteorologist Rhonda Shelby has some tips to help you get the best views.
The peak of this year's Perseid meteor shower will be overnight Saturday night and Sunday between midnight and dawn across the northern hemisphere. The rate of meteors seen each hour is called the zenith hourly rate. You may be able to spot as many as 50 meteors per hour this weekend. For best viewing in clear skies across the U.S., choose a spot that is away from city lights. That is ideal. Look up at the northeastern sky where the constellation Perseus is located. The waning crescent moon will not be very bright this year, so moonlight will not interfere with this year's view.
A weather desk. The summer has seen an increase in beach closures because of high bacteria levels in the water. We'll look at how the weather could be behind this increase, and we'll have tips on how to protect your trees from summer drought.
Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. We're in an every couple of days wet weather pattern in the Northeast. Today we have mostly dry weather, at least in New England. Notice some clouds. They're already on the increase over New York and through portions of northern New Jersey. Now, as we go through the afternoon, we're already introducing some rain, particularly over western zones here. That's 3 p.m. Some heavy downpours are possible in southern New England. That's 8 p.m. That's gone by Friday morning. We'll enjoy a lot of sun in the Northeast, but it gets a little windy.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. It's going to be a day of rain and some embedded thunderstorms, especially southern portions of the area as you head into Virginia, lower Delmarva, potentially down into the Carolinas. Could even have some severe weather in the mix as well, some stronger storms heading into the second half of the day. All of this rolls offshore and away later on in the day and into the evening hours. But until then, kind of an unsettled day with our next weather maker. That's the scene here.
Good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Michael Ehrenberg with a look at your southeast regional forecast for your Thursday. Showers, storms, and a line from the Carolinas to South Carolina and Georgia through the early mid part of the afternoon. They'll kind of fade away, move off the North Carolina coast. More storms in northern Alabama and Georgia during the afternoon, especially across much of South Florida as the sea breeze-driven thunderstorms continue to move through that area. Hot temperatures, upper 80s Atlanta north, mid to upper 90s for areas further south.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Heavy rains Wednesday led to flooded roadways, including this intersection in Springfield, Illinois. According to storm reports, some vehicles around the city got stuck in high water, from rain to beautiful sunrises like this one in Maine. And this isn't a bird or plane, but a cloud that resembles ice cream or whipped cream, unfortunately an inedible imitation of a tasty treat on a hot summer day.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
So far this summer, there has been more beach closures than normal due to bacteria compared to years past. Providence meteorologist Christina Ernie explains more extreme weather patterns play a role.
Stomach sickness, vomiting, diarrhea, these are just a few of the potential health issues from high bacteria in the ocean. Consistent testing from the Department of Health reveals an alarming trend, more beach closures earlier in the season.
So we've had 205 closure days this summer alone compared to 169 closure days last summer for the whole entire season. So it's a significant amount, and typically we see about 100 closure days a year, so it's even more than double what our average is.
We can blame a lot of rain for that.
It's really precipitation that is the #1 driver of closure days because that brings a lot of bacteria into the water.
And rainfall has been extreme this summer. The month of July came in as the second wettest on record, recording more than 5.5 inches above normal. Rainwater washes from our streets, from cesspools, and even from what's left on beaches like dog or geese waste right into the ocean. And with warmer than ever ocean temperatures, bacteria from this waste can grow fast.
As our ocean temperatures get warmer, bacteria are going to grow faster and our seaweeds are going to grow faster.
Dr. Carol Thornburg from the University of Rhode Island says warmer ocean waters could mean murkier conditions earlier in the season.
With our warming waters, I've been in Rhode Island almost 20 years, we definitely see some species start to appear and grow larger earlier in the season than we used to.
We may think seaweed stinks, but bacteria doesn't.
Some definitely can. Some can use that habitat and grow, and bacteria can use that seaweed to be able to grow faster.
Many of us plan ahead using the forecast from a meteorologist, but do you understand the lingo like isolated, scattered, numerous, so many terms? Meteorologist John Gum explains so you can better decide whether to grab an umbrella or just wing it.
Well, in summertime months, you might hear your local meteorologist refer to different lingo depending on the amount of showers and thunderstorms that we expect to see for the day. So let's talk a little bit about this lingo. First of all, you might hear the term isolated showers and thunderstorms. What does that mean? Well, it means what it sounds like, isolated or a less than 20% coverage across the forecast area. But then we begin to ramp those chances up. Next on the line, we have widely scattered. Widely scattered would mean a coverage of rain and storms anywhere from 20 to 40%. Scattered, meantime, would mean a coverage between 40 and 60%. So your chances increase of seeing some rain with scattered showers and storms in the area. When we get to numerous, we're talking about a coverage of rain between 60 and 80%. So your chances go even higher. And then finally, once we get to widespread, we're talking about a coverage of 80% or more of showers and thunderstorms. So it's rain coverage lingo here for you. The higher that coverage, the better your chance of seeing showers and thunderstorms.
In some areas, rain isn't a problem. In fact, it's the opposite. Trees are coming down in San Antonio, Texas, because of dry conditions. Stephanie Esquivel spoke to experts about the problem and what you can do to prevent drought from killing your trees.
Maria Rojas has lived in her home on the northeast side for 18 years now and says she has never had problems with the large trees in her front yard. She says Sunday night she heard a loud noise. I looked out the window and didn't see anything until the morning when I came out. I saw the tree had fallen. The tree damaged Robles' roof and a truck parked in her driveway. I spoke to experts who tell me that dry soil surrounding the tree can definitely speed up the process of a tree falling over. They say if you want to prevent this from happening on your property, there are a few things you can do. First, you need to make sure all of the roots are getting watered.
If it's a massive tree, then yeah, you want to be watering a larger area around the trunk of the tree.
Ray Green with Patriot Tree Service also tells me that keeping the area around the tree trunk clear is important.
If you've got like grasses that are right around the tree, you can remove those because those suck up the water as well.
Green says that adding mulch can also benefit the tree.
Mulch kind of helps keep the moisture content a little bit higher in the soil.
Finally, he says you should avoid pruning.
Yeah, I would recommend not pruning right now. Right now is because of the drought, that's one of the stressors that trees have on them right now, and pruning would be an additional stressor causing it to just go through a harder time than it needs to be.
Out as a rare sighting of pink bird around Green Bay, but the roseate spoonbill then became somewhat of a splash on social media. Experts say it may be heading south right now, but for local birders, the appearance is one they'll remember for years to come. More from Eric Peterson.
When this pink bird showed up in late July at the Ken Ewers Nature Area in Green Bay, it immediately caused a stir.
The bird definitely sticks out in the lineup. Looks like it belongs in Florida. It's pink like a flamingo. Got that really distinct spoon shape on the end of its bill. Doesn't look like anything we have here.
Tom Presby is the Audubon Great Lakes, Wisconsin Conservation Manager. He says the roseate spoonbill attracted dozens of photographers and birders to the site and even thousands online.
In the age of social media, a bird this rare and this charismatic looking has really gone viral. It's in tons and tons of Facebook groups, and it's been picked up by a ton of different news outlets.
News of the sighting reached South America, where Jack Swellstad was on a bird exploring trip.
So you may have seen spoonbills down there.
Yeah, lots of them.
Swellstad says it's ironic. He traveled about 6,000 miles to Brazil to see the same type of bird he could have seen here.
My first thought is, darn, I'm down there. It's like every time I go away, a rare bird shows up around here.
Birders say the spoonbill was last seen in the Green Bay area Friday morning.
It's very capable of long flights. A spoonbill just showed up near Peoria, Illinois, so that could be this bird on its way back south.
And while the spoonbill's celebrity may be fading, Tom Presby says he'll never forget.
This is one of those birds that, as a birder, you remember for the rest of your life.
Can't talk about animals without mentioning today is World Lion Day. The holiday started to make all of us more aware of declining populations. It's estimated that less than 50,000 lions are left in the wild because of poaching and also hunting. And before we take a short break, let's take flight over the high desert of California to enjoy the sunrise.
Well, good morning. I'm meteorologist Phil Kelly. So, kind of an unsettled pattern here for most of the region. We have a nice dry slot here in the Great Lakes, low to mid 80s across parts of Illinois and up into Wisconsin. We do have a cold front pushing through the Ohio Valley, giving us a little bit of rain this morning. Heat, humidity start to return as we get into Friday. Look at that, temps into the 90s for much of the Central Plains to end the work week.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. The best place to be in the morning, Amarillo at 66 degrees. Everybody else sitting into the 70s and into the 80s. Got a very weak little system there cutting across most of North Texas and into Louisiana, but not much rain. All of it out toward the west. Temperatures will be climbing back up into the triple digits again. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia, and that's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, and a good Thursday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. More heat here in the desert Southwest, along with monsoonal moisture. Going to rip some thunderstorms through Death Valley, potentially through Vegas and into Reno, Nevada as well. Highs back to about 90 in the Mile High City, 82 in downtown Portland. Little system that came through the northwest dissipating, but could see some rain along coastal sections of California and back into Arizona this afternoon. And that's the scene from here.
Watching the National Weather Desk.
Extreme summer heat. It may seem like you can't get enough water, but doctors are warning that drinking too much water can prove to be dangerous. Marissa Mendoza has more.
Medical experts say the average healthy adult should drink about 3 to 4 liters of water a day. That equals those 6 water bottles right there. But there is such a thing as drinking too much water. It's called water toxicity. Recently, an Indiana mom died after drinking just 4 bottles of that water in 20 minutes. Dr. Savannah Chavez says this is all it takes to sometimes throw your body off.
The sodium level be in a certain range. And when you start going outside of that range, because you've had too much water, thereby decreasing your sodium concentration, things start to go haywire.
Water toxicity can be hard to diagnose, but could include altered mental status, disorientation, confusion, nausea, and vomiting. Just how much water is okay to drink is based on the individual and their environment.
And if you're looking for more great weather content, check us out on social media. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk, and we will be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll look at why the weather could be behind an increase in bear sightings. And we'll also bring you the updated hurricane forecast from NOAA. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Thursday. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow.